Hey everyone, quick video to give you kind of a heads up on the test. The test is now up. You can now get online on Canvas, take test number 3. It'll be up until Monday at midnight. So you've got all weekend, you've got Monday. Remember, the test is going to be again 25 questions, chapter 6, chapter 7. There's going to be some stuff on the test that I wanted you to know from your book. So make sure you go through the 2 chapters in the book. A couple of things we didn't talk a lot about specifically, because really, if that's your interest, I teach a whole semester on those events. I teach an advanced investigation. For instance, with surveillance. Clearly, when we're getting ready to either try to get a warrant or we already have a warrant, we're going to be doing all kinds of surveillance. The thing to know about surveillance is this: you really have 2 types. When we already have a warrant for somebody, we've already got the probable cause. Remember, probable cause, that's going to be on the test. In order to arrest somebody, you have to have probable cause. This should be a reminder for most of you that had 1010. If not, make sure you're aware of the definition of probable cause. Anyway, if you have probable cause and you have a warrant for someone's arrest, then we sit on what we call a fixed surveillance. That means we have an address, a location, and we're basically out there sitting, waiting to apprehend that individual. So a fixed surveillance comes in all different shapes and sizes. The other or second type of surveillance is the moving surveillance. And this is generally when we're trying to watch a particular person for whatever reason and try and determine where they live in order to get a warrant for the address. So surveilling them from one location to another. You'll see this a lot with the DEA, with drug informants, where they'll follow a drug buy that went down, finding where that person went back to a residence. So anyway, you have moving surveillance and you have stationary. Second thing we didn't talk a lot about was informants. Clearly, I briefly mentioned this before, that a lot of what we do and solve is based on information given to us by people that we call confidential informants. Absolutely, we've been using confidential informants in law enforcement ever since law enforcement has existed. Supreme Court looks at it as it is a necessary step, something that we have to be able to do in order to solve a lot of crimes. Their only consideration when they look at what an informant gives to you is we must prove that they are reliable. Reliable in a sense that they've given us information and it's proved to be true. So therefore, we're going to use them again. Very controversial. Clearly, especially when we're talking about college students, for instance, the local law enforcement here are not going to be able to do their job well, knowing if we're going to do this war on drugs or other things, they're not going to know what's going on out there unless they get information from people that are involved in those. So why do people work with the police? That's something we can teach an entire semester on. I just want you to be very careful in understanding 2 or 3 reasons why they do this. Clearly, what most people believe is that they're all doing it to get a charge off their back, meaning they've been arrested for something and they want to break. Remember, detectives, law enforcement, they cannot promise anything, nor can they threaten you for anything. That's the district attorney's job. That's why the prosecutor is so powerful in this whole game of criminal justice. Certainly, if they've got a charge, we can approach a prosecutor, and most of them are very approachable, and we explain to the prosecutor, look, this person has been working with us, and that cooperation, we would like you to give consideration in the current charge they have. So certainly, lots of people give information to help with what their charge is currently. The second one is really what a lot of people don't realize, which is informants can make a lot of money. Many informants get literally a kickback on things that are seized from people that we arrest. They actually can make money based on that information. Not only can we give them direct money, whether it's state, local, or federal, but informants also many times will snitch off people because it's their competition. If I'm in the business of stealing cars, I like to steal Porsches, and all of a sudden a new person moves into town stealing Porsches, a lot of times that person might give information up to the police so that we arrest their competition. So again, that could be a second reason. A third reason, which I got caught up in, is that a lot of people want to cooperate with the police because they know eventually they're going to get in trouble for things they're doing, and they want help when that happens. So be very, very cautious. As a supervisor, you're going to have to get involved with your investigators and let them know before you work informants, have an understanding of what is their motive, why are they doing this, because then you have to be very, very cautious. These are not your friends. These are people that we don't hang out with. In fact, I've watched a lot of law enforcement officers lose their jobs because of relationships with informants. You can't do it. Enough said. I teach that in my advanced class. But what I like to always teach new investigators is today's informant is going to be tomorrow's suspect. Remember that. As much as you're using informants and you think that they're a cop because they're giving you information, remember they play on the other side. So today's informant is probably going to be tomorrow's suspect. Keep that in mind. So go over the chapter, look at informants, confidential informants, look at surveillance. A couple of questions of that's going to be on the test, but the test again is chapters 6 and 7. Get it done, and then next week we're going to start into what most of my students have signed up for. They're intrigued with death investigations, homicides. So we'll start into that next week. But for right now, just get the test done. Good luck. See you next time.